Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome to another Filmmaker interview with me and Steve and some special guests. I posted about this pretty often, I think, while I was there, but a couple weeks ago, I got to go to the Atlanta Horror Film Festival. And one of the reasons that I went is because Steven DeRock, who has been on the channel before, we talked about another short that he did some time ago, actually had a new short that was going to be playing at this festival. I never get to go to anything. They're never in Atlanta. So I decided I'm going to make an effort to go. And so I got to go see Murder Madness Mayhem, which is his new short, and at the festival. And so we're going to just kind of chit chat with Steven and Riley about that film and just kind of things about themselves. So we have, I don't know if it's going to look right on the camera, but somewhere below me is Riley. Is it Marinelli?
That's how you say it. Absolutely.
Yay! I never get that right. And then, of course, Steven DeRock is returning. Yeah, Riley, do you just want to talk a little bit about your role in the film and just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, cool. Absolutely. So I was the masked villain in the film. So it was kind of cool to play a villain for the first time. Yeah, a little bit about myself. I'm just an actor from Toronto. I studied in the UK, spent about 3 years training over there. Spent some time in California training. So I got a lot of training on my resume. Now I just need to translate that into some, Hollywood gigs, but it's coming. But yeah, I'm a big comedy guy, which is interesting because we're talking about a horror film. Yeah. Big sports guy as well. I'm a tennis player on the side. Not professionally, just for fun, but I like to compete. And it's good to be here. It's good to kind of chat with you guys, and thanks for having me on the show.
Definitely. Thanks for being able to make it. Yeah, I was just thinking, based on your character in the film, I was thinking you came on and you were all like happy and smiling, and I was like, is this the same person?
Yeah, it's a pretty stark opposite of kind of who I am. I'm a very bubbly kind of person, and I'm always jokes like I bet you Steven could relate, but whatever for me. Yeah. But on each take, I tend to try to make people laugh and joke, and then it's like in action, and then it's like in it, and then you're like, okay, and then cut, and I'm like, oh, that was great, and
I remember that.
Yeah, so I try to keep things light on set, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I like it.
It's fun.
All right, Steven, if you want to talk just a little bit about yourself and what else you've done.
Yeah, so last time I was on the show here, we talked about my film The Rage, and then I think at that point I was just talking about the beginning, like the pre-production crowdfunding of this project that we're going to be talking about now. By the way, we can talk spoilers because it's been out pretty much for like almost like a year now. This film, we shot it last October in 2022, and then we started screening it in early 2023 at festivals. And then during that time, I was an extra for a couple days on a feature film during the summer. And I currently working on a short film music video. We shot some in August, and we're going to try to shoot some this winter and some in the spring, and then hopefully release it by late summer of 2024. It's for a band called The Midnight from Los Angeles. They're like retro synthwave. Checking them out. So those are pretty much what I'm up to now. And obviously, whenever I think of ideas, I always try to write them down and either start writing short. I mean, my goal is to do a feature film eventually, but it's a lot of work with financing and investing, but all in time.
Yeah. All right, cool.
All right. So before we dive into kind of further questions and really get into the meat of the film, let's roll the trailer so everyone kind of knows a little bit what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Hello?
is, Murder Madness Mayhem.
Sure.
So my first question for you guys, and whoever wants to sort of answer first, hop on. How long did it take to shoot the film, and maybe what were some of the challenges that you had to overcome during the production process?
Sure. Yeah, we shot it in 3 days in early October of last year. So it was like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday was actually like a half a day. It was short. We only did like a night shoot. It was like for 4 hours. I mean, there's always challenges, I think, with any film you work on. I think pre-production is one of the hardest part because you're trying to get your funding. And you're also doing the casting and scheduling, trying to make sure certain days works for everybody, which can also be really hard. And once you're there on set, you're always there to have fun. And I would say, everybody brings out the best of each other. And, it's great working with actors like Riley too, because a lot of stuff when we're on set, some stuff wasn't scripted. And like when we're on set, we're kind of just brainstorming, thinking, hey, this would work. So that was fun. Everyone had a really good attitude. And then of course, afterwards, it was a few months of editing, getting the editing done, the color grading, and music composing done. But then after that, then you start doing the festivals. So it's a long process, but it's been a lot of fun overall and rewarding. It was nice to see the screening in Toronto, a big group of people.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and the people you worked with for the other one, I remember you talking about just kind of how important that dynamic is when you're working with people that you can get the project done, but not, butt heads or have constant conflicts or issues come up, and how important it is. And I know you said the last time that was something that was really important to you. Yeah.
How about you, Riley?
Well, I remember some little technical things that were always I remember the scene when I'm driving the car, and we were using a street light to really kind of fill the shot with the light, and it was trying to just get the timings always perfectly for the little things, and I don't know how many times I just reversed and then did it again. And you think just drive to the spot, but it's these timings that are kind of important in this. And there was even that one scene where I again, spoilers. Sorry, guys. You've had a year to see this. All right. If I'm spoiling anything. So there's a scene where I'm reaching in, I'm grabbing the knife, and I kind of walk up the stairs. And I had to make sure, I don't know if we swapped the knife. I kind of forget, Steven.
Yeah, we did.
But there was at one point I was holding the knife, and the glare was just catching the camera and stuff. And so then how do I hold it? But I want to show the blade and stuff. And then, I tried, I think at one point to nick it up the stairs, but then it was a little too loud and it kind of sounded plasticky and stuff. So just kind of finding these little things that will take you out of it. If you kind of hear a knife knock and it's plasticky, it takes you out of the way, right? So we're
takes you out.
Right,
yeah.
Let's cut that, let's do that. But I mean, overall, the collaboration on set, I think is super important, and that's something that I know between a lot of takes, especially with something like this that has a lot of technicalities in certain shots, like the blood scene and stuff. It is important to have that conversation between the cinematographer, the director, the actors. How are we going to go about this? And it was always nice to have that open line of dialogue for sure.
Yeah. I remember getting that slit throat scene set up. I think that was more because we only did 2 takes because we only had.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's super impressive. That scene is so realistic.
So
it's pretty good, isn't it?
It is.
It felt really good because originally, if you saw the raw footage, you would see all the tubing and the neck piece, but when we edit in post-production, we VFX'd it all out, so it looks like it just blends in. But so there's 2 cuts when it jumps back from, I think when she slits the throat and blood starts gushing out, that's one take, and then it shows the girl screaming, the main lead, Alexis. Then it goes back to the other girl, and that's the other take with her covering her throat. So it was nice we were able to use both takes because both slits came out differently. Blood came out later than the other side. So
but shout out to Vanessa who came up with the contraption for it. She killed it. She set that all up. That was awesome.
That was challenging.
But yeah, even that problem as well. You run into you do it the first time, and all of a sudden it's whoa, there's cornstarch syrup or whatever it is that makes blood everywhere. So no move. It's low budget. We don't have just endless amount of wardrobe to just change in and out of. So just little things like that you always kind of dealing with on the go.
We literally put plastic everywhere on the floor and on the wall. We had no idea what to expect, how this thing was going to have work.
It looked like we were ready for a murder. So I guess we were doing a good job.
That's true. Yeah, that scene was for it to be, because I knew going into, I knew it was a shorter, obviously it's a short. So I was like, you always wonder, like, going into those, like, what's going to be like the scene that you remember. And the throat scene is definitely the one I remember. Because I mean, obviously I'm expecting violence, I'm expecting blood, I'm expecting things. But like when that scene happened, I was like, that looked really, really realistic. So
Nice.
effective win on that.
Wicked. We love that, Steven.
Yeah. So Steven, going from the rage to this, do you feel, I mean, especially with like what Riley was saying about like just having these like neat little things come up that you can't necessarily prepare for, you don't know how it's going to work. Are there things that you took with you that you can specifically think of in your head from the rage to Murder Madness Mayhem that really helped maybe get over some of those things or avoid them?
Like mentally, I was prepared on what to expect this time around because I'd gone through all the process from before. I just knew there's gonna be different obstacles that come up, but at the same time, which is nice, I worked with the same makeup artist, Vanessa. I worked with the same cinematographer, Colin, and was there anybody else? What's her name? Why is her name slipping me? Script supervisor, Elise, right?
Yeah.
We worked with her on my first film too, so it was nice having your faces there because I trust them and I worked with them. I know they're good people. But yeah, I think going into the second film, I kind of knew more what to expect. Yeah. But at the same time, like there's always things like
you can't be
might come up. Like setting up the shower scene took so long. So yeah, I mean, there's always like things that you never know until you're there on set. But then that's why it's also good to like with Colin, like even the first shoot I did, I had him come to location with me and like walk around. I don't know actually if he came this time around. I think I might have sent him pictures, but I remember he might have came with me to just look at the location. That's what helps at least the filmmakers. Yeah, bring your cinematographer to location. That way they know what they're working with. Because they'll know where all the equipment's going to be setting up.
Makes sense.
Like, you know what I mean? Like where the camera is going to be. So that's important for other like indie filmmakers out there. Just always tour locations with your cinematographer.
Yeah. Was the shower scene specifically complicated because of the angles and the different shots? Because it's multiple.
It was tight in there. And that was one of the issues. Well, yeah, it was. I think Riley, that was the first shot of the whole shoot. I think that took.
I believe it was. It took a little while, but I mean, just again, it's like you think, why don't you just put a camera and just do it like this? But you know, I'm not a cinematographer, so I can't speculate how you do it. But there's so much more that goes into it. It's really crazy, and I do remember that one took a while, but you know, just making sure the angles are right and certain, just I don't know. Colin was great. He was
Colin's awesome.
He's
very talented. But yeah, like they had to set up the lights, they had to put like a strand of light inside the shower, and then they had to put the camera on a metal rod, and then that metal rod they had to use sandbags to keep it like pose in a certain position to go. It's a lot. Like we have behind the scenes photos of it, but I would say like it took 2 or 3 hours to get it set up before we actually rolled camera.
Well, I love that you're going into sort of the ins and outs of doing something like a shower scene, because I don't think a lot of people realize like it seems so simple on the surface.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about that.
Like, when you're dealing with like unpredictable elements like water and it's sort of like splash factor and the camera.
That's another issue. We had it every take. We had to get a squeegee and wipe the glass off because it would get frosty, and then the camera.
Yeah, every time.
Every time, every take.
Reflections and glares and stuff. They're all little things that like you don't think about, but then as soon as you kind of set up, be like, well, this, and this and this and this. Oh wow, like so you know, pre-planning is definitely kind of important. Now having that in Steven's back pocket, he's done it before. He knows kind of what to look at when he's getting ready to shoot another scary shower scene. Who knows?
I think that was the hardest shot to pull off. I really do.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be the throat slash, man. It's got to be that one.
No, but like that one. I don't know, like that was probably the hardest as for time, like you only have a certain amount of time because you only do 2 takes to do that. So that was challenging, but like we had the camera pose like at the end of the stairs pointing up at you guys, but like that didn't take as long to set up, but like, yeah, that shower scene was hard. But yeah,
Cliche.
the
No, you're
throat,
right. You're right.
a lot of nerves. I'm like, we gotta get this right in 2 takes because we gotta change of clothes for her. We had to wash her hair after the first take and dry it and get her all ready to do it again.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Riley, next question is sort of for you. What was it like portraying our masked villain? And how did you go about making the role your own?
Yeah. So great question. It's really relatable because one, I just did this little workshop with Whitby Courthouse Theater. It's just this local little theater group in my area, and I really focused on character. And what's interesting about the masked villain, other than the very end, is I don't speak. And a lot of people think like, how do you make a character if you don't talk and everything? But it's really just about embodying and how does your character move and all of this and taking that into consideration. Because, there's much more that goes to character than just the words, the way he moves, his pace, how he is he soft on his feet? Is he hard on his feet? Does he, move with grace? And you take all these into consideration. So honestly, it's kind of just, when I get into characters, I like to really just walk around a room and just kind of like feel it out, see how it goes. And, at first it's just playing, it's experimenting. Like, what does this feel like? Like, is this too hokey? Is this too much? Is this not enough? So really, seeing my role and stuff, it was cool to just really feel like this, trying to find a different movement than I am. And like, it's a very different character than I am in person. I'm a very bubbly, and I tried to find like this grounded stillness, this soft kind of, almost like rhythmic step in a way. So really, just, I like the idea of playing. So I usually, use that and just a couple takes here and there, but interesting to create something that has a voice without using your voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
no, you're right. I mean, even just some of the motions of the way that like when you're holding the knife and you're moving through the space, it's very like, it doesn't work the same if the person that you're supposed to be paying attention to doesn't capture your attention, and there's like and I honestly, like, I know we've seen like silent villains are not typically like, they're not as popular as ones that talk too much, but it's one of those things where like, I think it works so well in instances like this. And to me, it's far more unsettling to have someone just moving through the space without saying anything. Just, to me, it's like embodies control. Like, it's like, I've got control over the situation. I've got nothing to say. Like, I don't know. There's just something more, just more complex to that adds, to the effectiveness of
exactly. Right. And it's about like, so like this character, when he's going through space, like there's this kind of like eerie, almost confidence he has walking through it. Like, it's mine. There's no rush to it. There's this, like you said, like the word control was perfect. He was in control at all times, even though, she might be running and I'm just kind of walking towards her, and there's no panic. It's because you embody this confidence of like, this is my space now, which is kind of scary in a sense. It's even scary to have the guy be like, I don't know this place, but it's mine now.
100%. Yeah, I totally agree.
I would say, I think that was an important part of me too. It's like, I wanted the audience to be aware it was happening, but like the main character not knowing.
Oh yeah. Oh, that dramatic irony is super effective, especially in horror.
Yeah, and that's part of one of the reasons that I think home invasion specifically as a subgenre just hits the way that it does, because it's like, she lived there. That's her safe space. That's the place that she knows. And then exactly like you said, you're coming in and it doesn't belong to you, but you just act like it does. You act like you know exactly where you're going, you know exactly what you're going to do. Yeah. And that's so like, this is like supposed to be your space. And then this other person is it's very unsettling.
And it dirties the space for,
it does.
Right? Like this person I don't know is now been in my space. It's like, if someone, breaks into your car or something, you realize you're like, is there someone in here? And you're like, oh, it's eerie. Imagine that in your house.
Oh man, I had an off-campus house in college, and we got broken into. I tell you, after that, I was like,
right? It's kind of spooky, and it's violating in a way.
It is violating. I was gonna say, I've had a car stolen, and I've had one broken into, and it's like, The being stolen, like we never got it back. They wrecked it. But like the one that was broken into, it was like, I really don't even want the car anymore.
Exactly.
Like it just sullies that like whole sense of security of like after that you're like, you know,
exactly.
totally agree.
Mm-hmm. So
you're like, did someone plant a camera in here?
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but
Yeah.
just having this feeling that someone that wasn't welcome has been in your space, just kind of going through it, and it's got this uncomfortableness to it.
I was gonna say, I think it was a good change that I made in post production. But Riley, remember, like, you know, when you guys watched it, you see the first there's not really any jump scares in this besides the scene when she answers the door, doesn't see anyone, close the door, and then you see him in front of camera. So that take was originally just Riley getting ready to stand at the door, because originally in the script, in that scene when she opened the door, she saw the killer and she's asking him questions and he's not answering. So that scene where you see him just move in front of camera was just him ready to start the next scene. But you know, I'm like,
love it.
When I was editing in post production, my editor, I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should take out that first initial piece when they first see each other. That way it's more of a shock, I guess, towards the end, because she wasn't expecting to see, you know, some type of like a home intruder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it worked better without that scene, because if she saw him, I think it's like, why would you go take a shower? She's like,
well,
yeah.
I was just gonna say it adds to the real, like it being realistic, because me, especially as a female, first of all, I'm not answering the door. I'm not, you ring all you want, I'm not answering the door. But second of all, if I were to answer the door and I'm not asking any questions. The door is going.
Yeah.
So I think that approach made it far more realistic, for real.
Yeah.
Like, so that was definitely a great decision.
Nice.
And we have to know this because we were talking about this before we were recording. So you have Felissa Rose and Roger Jackson. So kind of
just like I saw the names in the credits. I was like, what?
So yeah, I guess we mostly just kind of want to know like how that came about. What was that like? You know, just kind of about that experience having them, or you know, being able to use them as part of your film.
Yeah, for sure. So I met Roger, I think at Niagara. I met him like 2 or 3 times. After the second time, I think or after the first time meeting him, second time, we kept in touch. We originally follow each other back on Twitter, and then we were DMing, and then he gave me his email. And we kind of just kept in touch over the last few years. So I reached out to him and asked, like, hey, would you like be interested in like doing this part? And I was gonna say too, there's actually another part of that recording he did that hadn't been used. So I'm thinking of using it in another film project. So we'll see. But yeah, so that's how that came about. He's a really great guy, really nice. And Felissa came a little later once we were in post-production. I reached out to a few people. I think originally I reached out to Dee Wallace. But she wasn't able to do it at the time. So I'm like, you know what, Felissa's a sweetheart. And sure enough, I just saw her October 28th in Niagara Falls, and she remembered me, and she did the project because me and Alexis were both at Niagara Falls. So we both saw her, and you know, she was talking to Alexis about the project and giving her advice as well. But yeah, honestly, it's from meeting people at shows like conventions was like a big way of like this big way of me like networking with people. And that's how Roger and Felissa came on board.
Yeah, I was telling Steve about all the people you meet.
Yeah. Yeah, they're great, and like it's nice to, if you are a filmmaker, it's good to go to conventions. You know, like Alexis went to see Damien Leone, director of Terrifier, and you know they exchanged contact info, which was awesome. And you know, Damien Leone's actually a really great guy. I met him earlier in the summer when he was in Niagara Falls. He came back for the fall convention, but he's a really nice guy. And now they're doing Terrifier 3, which is great. But yeah, honestly, meeting people at conventions is like the best thing, because you never know who you're gonna meet. You never know who you're gonna connect with on like a personal level and also professional level as far as making films. You might think that, oh, like all these people are like, I don't know if you think people are like out of your league for wanting to help you make a
Untouchable.
project. Yeah, like people you admire, look up to, you're like, oh, they're never gonna do this. But no, I mean, if they connect with you on a personal level and they like your attitude and your personality, they're gonna be willing to do that for you. So just gotta get yourself out
Yeah.
Yeah. And the horror community is amazing, right? And I feel like so many people are just like sort of willing to just be part of projects just for the love of the genre.
there.
Yeah.
Right. Riley, my next question is for you, actually. Have you done horror before? And if so, or if not, how was approaching this film different?
Cool. No, so as I said earlier, I'm not a huge horror guy. So this was definitely my first jump into this world. Yeah, it's a world I'm not super familiar with. I can't say horror is my favorite genre to throw on a Friday night or anything, but it's the way I approach it. So like when Steve came to me and asked me to be part of the project, you know, I watched his previous film, and one, I loved the way it looked. I thought it was just done very well, and it was intriguing, and I was like, oh, awesome. You know, as you know, an up and coming actor, someone who's trying to get in the business, networking is really important. So, you know, when he came to me, I jumped on it. I was like, absolutely, I'd love to be part of this. So then, you know, it being a short, it wasn't as daunting as maybe, you know, a
feature length
120 page script of really trying to delve into this. So I guess in terms of someone who's not really familiar with the world, it was a good kind of stepping stone into this genre and stuff. And kind of just the way I approach any character really is just, you know, just kind of doing my work and really thinking about, you know, what are my motives? What do I want from this and all that? And it's definitely, once you're on set and like it's all set up and stuff, it helps bring you into it as well. You know, with the lights are off and it's kind of eerie and creaky, and even just like you do your first take and it kind of it brings you in. You're like, oh, okay. Like I feel the mood it's kind of going to be, and then you know, you got to get like those kind of nerves out or whatever you want to say, and then you just feel a little bit more confident and you feel comfortable in front of the camera, you know, exploring something new. Especially with this kind of character, how we spoke before, like I don't get a lot of words to kind of describe who I am, so just finding that. But it was a great welcome into this genre. You know, especially being that like we shot in October, so right around Halloween, and the whole mood sets you up for what we're trying to do, and you know, just having a great cast and crew just on board and just kind of all wanted for the success of this and being part of this. And you know, Steven did a great job of like setting everything up. Like I walked in there and I was blown away. I was like, well, I did not expect this many people. And like, you know, this kind of, with no, you know, offense to you at all, but the quality of it in terms of, you know, just seeing Colin set up his camera, and we had script supervisors and all this. And, you know, as soon as I see that, then I was, you know, not that I wasn't going to, you know, do my best, but you know, right away, all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, well, you know, this is more than someone shooting on their iPhone, just, you know, putting something on YouTube. Like this is something that he's putting a lot of time and effort into. So I want to be part of something good. And, you know, so I, you know, buckled down and tried to give the best I could for Steven, and hopefully it turned out well. Seems like it's doing good. So
now that you've done horror, have you been bitten by the horror bug? Have you tried to watch some stuff?
I can't say I've jumped into it. I'm moving into a little bit of that. Like I like the goriness of certain things. But
you like the psychological kind of thriller movies.
I like I do like that kind of stuff. What's one I watched
like Signs, right? Signs.
Oh, that was the first scary movie I ever seen, and I forget how old I was. I was young, but I slept in my mom's room for like 3 days after Signs. I was like,
that is a pretty scary movie. I agree. Like
I was so scared. I was like, I can't sleep for 3 days. I was thinking aliens.
I still like, if I'm on social media and I see that stupid clip from the birthday party when the alien runs across the driveway, I'm like wrecked the rest of the day. I'm like, I'm so uncomfortable. I'm so bothered by that.
That was like the first horror I ever saw, and like it scared me. But if I had to go in sort of that genre, I like I've watched the Saws, you know, I've messed with those, and
I like those.
the psychological thrillers. the one with like Denzel and Rami Malek and Jared Leto, all the small things or something, all the little things.
Oh,
it's a little bit of kind of like a psychological thriller and stuff. And I tend to go more into that than say necessarily like the Michael Myers and the slashers and dashers and all that. But if an opportunity came along, I think the characters, like those characters are fun to play. It's cool to be in that world because it's you know, an enhancement of ours. Like, I mean, I guess there's that in real life, but that's not good.
I know what you mean.
But it's cool to jump into that world and to I like being a villain. It's cool because I'm a pretty nice guy and I you know, I try to be a pretty positive dude. So to be into this completely different character from who I am, you know, that's kind of why we get into acting and stuff, is to like play and to experience different, you know, characteristics and all that or whatnot. But I would definitely like to explore a little bit more of that. You know, I think there's what's the one coming out with Michael Fassbender, Killer, I think. That looks pretty cool.
Oh, The Killer,
that was like a psychological thriller, right? Like psychological.
It's gonna be on Netflix.
And like that's kind of something I would like to like explore that. Like that would be kind of cool.
Psychological,
that
would be an interesting type of like film to make, like for myself to write. Psychologicals always feel like they always have that twist, so that'd be interesting.
Well, both of yours have twists though so far. Like it's kind of become like a thing so far.
You have a big twist at the end, Steven.
And the first one, The Rage, was the same way. Steve texted me when he got to the end of that and was like, "What?" So like,
I love Grandma. You kidding me?
Like, like you're setting kind of like a. It's becoming like
using a grandma is scary. Okay, Steven.
Oh, so scary.
When I first saw that, I was like,
so cheerful the whole time.
That was like her first movie she ever made too.
She was brilliant. She was so convincing. But it's like. Yeah, but that's definitely a twist, and this with
the car, that's
a twist.
But I think psychologicals is like mess with your mind more.
You're thinking like Identity, right? Something like that. That's sort of
where it's like a little more convoluted to get.
Yeah, like more so like there's also those psychological movies that are like, what did I just watch? And you have to like look up on Reddit, what is the ending? Like, I watched that movie for the first time. Was it called like The Killing of a Sacred Deer?
I haven't seen that.
It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I'm sorry, like I love Nicole Kidman and Colin Farrell, but that movie was so boring and slow. Sorry to the director or filmmaker who ever made it. I mean, it was shot really nicely. The cinematography was really nice, but like the story, it was just not for like the general public. I don't think everyone would understand it.
I haven't seen that one.
I'm just saying, like I find a lot of
you wouldn't, Angel. Day 24. You would.
I find a lot of psychological films are like that. They're slow, they have a slow burn, and sometimes the general audience won't understand it completely. I think that, you know what I mean? So one day it would be cool to make a film where it's like, I'm trying to think of a film that kind of like really messed with my mind that was psychological. I mean, I'm sure there's one, like there's a few handful. I just can't think of any right now.
I can't think of any off the top of my head. I get impatient with the slow burns. Like slow burns, like because I already don't naturally like them, the payoff has to be like really up there or it ends up ruining the experience for me.
Well, Inception's kind of psychological.
That's true. That's a good one. That's a good example of one.
That's very sort of high concept psychology.
Inception. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And like Shutter Island, something like that.
Shutter Island is another good one.
That was kind of eerie, right?
That has now become a trope though, because now it's like everybody's crazy at the end of the like that. Like I feel like that set the standard for that style of film, and then like right after that came out, there was like a ton of stuff that came out that was super like, oh well, he's crazy. Like you know, like you can already like it's already been done. It was done really well. Like just do something different. So
well, have you seen? I think it's called Lighthouse. It's Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson.
I love Lighthouse.
That was very interesting. That was super cool. To be fair, I have to finish the last little bit, but it was. I mean, first of all, shooting in black and white is always kind of cool. I like that idea.
Black and white, 4:3 or whatever. You know, the old.
What an interesting
flick. Ratio.
I had no idea about it. And I just was like, what did I watch? Is it Netflix? Is that what it's on?
Might be on Netflix. I dragged my husband to see it in theaters. He hated it.
I I don't rush to see anything that A24 does. It takes a lot of convincing to get me to
I
watch
love,
it.
I like A24.
I love A24.
Yeah.
I
mean, a lot of
literally-
people do, or they wouldn't keep making movies, but it's
Touché.
just not for me.
I literally have a pile of like 4Ks from them. Right here. I got like Pearl, X, Midsommar. So it's just like
See, so it's funny. Midsommar, that movie messed me up, but I liked it more. Well, the thing is, I've seen Hereditary once, and at first I didn't like it. Then I started watching some scenes again. I'm like, you know what? I really want to rewatch this because it's like American Psycho. I remember the first time I saw that movie, I didn't like it. Then I watched it like 2 other times, and it kept growing on me each time I watched it.
See, with
And that's-
Hereditary though, Toni Collette became a gay icon with that movie. So I
Toni
have.
Collette is amazing.
She's like, I am your mother.
Yeah, she was so good. That movie is amazing. Her acting's amazing. I think it was just when I first watched it when it came out, I was confused by the ending, but then when I looked into it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's all what it meant. It was a really good movie, but Midsommar is another one that was just like, whoa.
Well, that opening theme is.
I haven't seen Beau's Afraid yet, and that's another Ari Aster movie.
Oh, I know. I don't know why I couldn't. I think maybe it came out right when we adopted our son. I couldn't get to theaters to see it, and it's been sitting in my queue for like.
I will
forever.
never watch that one, probably.
No, but it's actually you might like. I don't know. I'll let you know when I finally see it. But it's got like a really cool cast. It's got like Nathan Lane in it.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. They have plenty of cool people in their movies, and they still suck. Like, I don't like their movies. I like Talk to Me and Saint Maud. That's it.
Oh, I got to see Talk to Me still. I haven't seen Saint Maud, but I've heard of it.
Saint Maud's good.
Okay.
All right, sorry. I'll read it. Like,
I'll say, can I say something before I forget? Because when we were talking about like the whole like working with Raleigh thing, I want to pull up this picture of this dude of Kyle Gallner. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I 100% do. Of course, we know who that is.
When I was casting him, like he looked like this guy.
Oh,
And then when I
See it with the picture up there.
right, so
Hey,
when I saw
you know what? To be fair, that's a doppelganger if I've seen one.
I know, right? That's why when I saw him on like when I was like looking through headshots, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this guy. He looks like very mysterious. I'm like, I think he would be good.
Kyle Gallner's not a bad comparison. So that's awesome.
No, he's like.
Hey,
a
I'm
horror-
flattered.
I feel like-
I'm flattered.
yeah, he's like horror icon, right? Like people love him. Like he's great.
Well,
Yeah.
Jennifer's Body, Nightmare on Elm Street remake, and the Scream 5. Although he like died pretty quick.
I
but-
know, but he died listening to the Red Right Hand, and I was just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is so perfect." He was also in a possession movie called The Cleansing Hour, which, if you have not seen, is fantastic. So good. He was really good in that too.
I'll check that out.
He's been in. He was in Smile.
I got a list of movies to catch.
Oh, I
up
haven't
on.
seen Smile yet. I have to see
Smile
this.
is also really good.
Was he haunting Connecticut?
Maybe. I think that might have been.
That's an older one. Was he the son? Is that
I
what
think
you're
he was
thinking?
the son in that.
I think that's right, actually. Yeah, I think that was my introduction to Kyle Gallner, actually.
Yeah, that was him.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, so
Wow,
he's
good job, Steve.
Yeah, Virginia Madsen's the mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Points.
God, that scene in the Haunted Connecticut when they find the box of eyelids. Oh my God, that scene always stuck with me.
So gross. Ugh, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I'm with
Did you see the VOD sequel to that, Haunting in Georgia?
No.
Yes.
Chad Michael Murray.
Big thumbs down.
All right, sorry. I'll get started. So anyways, so talking about your the villain in this, where were I think I could probably guess at least some of them, but where were some of your inspirations for this? What were you hoping to kind of get across, and what did you want people to feel, when we see him for the first time in his mask and silence?
You know what's funny? I didn't really want, I don't know if this sounds bad or good. I didn't want the audience to feel scared. I want them to feel uncomfortable.
No, I think that's fair. It's
Right?
home invasion. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, The
Yeah.
Strangers was a big part. I love that movie.
Yeah.
I watch scenes from that all the time. Michael Myers maybe too a little bit, although being, I don't, the way he walks slow, doesn't talk, until the end, obviously. But trying to think what else. I mean, that mask, it took me a while to pinpoint what mask I want to use. That was actually made by, I think they're called Hollow Moon Effects on Etsy. So I got a couple masks from them. We got 2 of them just in case one didn't work out, which was good because remember Riley, the first day when you were there, you tried one on, you're like, something's poking me in my eye. It was like a piece of like, I don't know, it was like the mold of the latex. But then we used the second one and it fit better. So that's good that I got 2. But yeah, I would say The Strangers was a big part of inspiration. And I also was listening to a lot of like real 911 dispatch calls with like things just like eerie while I was writing. So that's why when it's like The Strangers put like, oh, inspired by true events, and then when I was actually like looking into like real crime cases, I'm like, I can loosely like put ideas based on what I'm hearing on these 911 dispatch calls. And but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what other movies really inspired it. I don't know.
Strangers was the one I assumed you were gonna, just because we've already talked about like how you feel about home invasion and the movies that we, so I kind of figured that was probably going to be a part of your answer. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's like originally a 14-page script for this one, and then we cut it down to 7 because originally the parents of Jamie and Nancy the parents were supposed to be in it. Or no, Nancy wasn't supposed to be in it originally. I added Nancy because I couldn't cast the parents. They dropped out, and it was like, well, yeah, one dropped out, and then the other couldn't fully. Anyways, scheduling conflicts. That's another thing too, is scheduling conflicts.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to wait another year to shoot this. Let me cut this script in half. Let me focus on one person. And I kind of consider that a challenge and an obstacle that I was willing to work around. I'm like, let me see what I can pull off with the material I already have and just make it shorter.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I
think that works in your favor because it's very sharp.
Yeah.
It's concise. Yeah. I think if you try to do a short with too many elements, it gets kind of lost in translation.
A little convoluted.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of following. I think you're smart to sometimes. All right, let's like I like to write as well, and some of my friends read my stuff, and they're like, it's a little too much. Like, and I love writing. I love dialogue and stuff. And like I'll go, and they're like, I think you should just bring it down to this one scene. I was like, what? Oh, okay, but I have 30 pages of book. They're like, you only need 7 of them. I'm like, all right, fine.
It's hard. It's hard to write down. It's really hard.
Yeah, I mean, because you fall in love with what you write, and like you're like, I like this, and this is important because this. But then at the end of the day, you're just trying to, however you can tell a story is like you're telling the story of this girl and that, and you don't necessarily need 14 extra pages to get that story across.
Sure.
And you can always use that material for another future project. Like I was even thinking if I ever wanted to make a sequel to this, it can focus on the grief of the 2 parents, and then the killer comes back. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there could be more of a twist on the reason why he's doing it too. You know what I mean? So you can always work with old material that you haven't used and kind of incorporate it with another project. So
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
How was the sort of festival process and like sort of like getting into the festival circuit, like submissions, and then sort of like attending and what that how that's been?
Submitting is easy. It's just the waiting to hear back. Like, obviously, every festival has a fee you have to pay. It can range from anything. I try not to spend more than I think this time around, I try not to spend over $40 for each submission.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that they charged.
Yeah, I guess they have to make money from summer, right? Because they have to book a venue. They have to probably give out awards like trophies if they do that.
Especially probably like the bigger ones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the submitting is easy, although as you said, like it's good to have that funding. So if you want to raise like $1,000, and if your project's like a $5,000 budget, take $1,000 from that $5,000 budget and put it toward festival submissions. So and then just a waiting process. I think for this festival, I think we got 14 screenings in total. And there's like 3 more festivals I'm waiting to hear back from. I think I probably submitted to roughly 50 festivals. But the thing is too, I know that number sounds very overpowering. The same thing happened though to my first film too, though. It's just, really depends on the festival and how many entries they accept. Because some of them are so little and they have to sacrifice if they really like this one, but they're like, we have to it's hard for them to choose. sometimes. But you know, that's just the way it is. But I'm glad I appreciate all the festivals that did accept it. I mean, 14 festivals is better than nothing. And then we also got like a lot of finalists that didn't fully make it but made it to the finals area, which was good. But yeah, besides that's pretty easy. And then obviously official selection to be a part of the festival is the main goal. Winning an award is just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know that the Atlanta Film Festival, the one that I went to and watched this, that I talked to the people who run it when I was there, and the woman that runs it was like, I was like, well, how many like submissions did you guys get for, you know, for just this one? And she was like over 3,000, and they got it down to 200. And I was like,
that's crazy. Hey, we made it.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And she said that the other thing, that one of the things that they have to do, because it is a grueling process, it's a lot to absorb.
Yeah.
But the other thing that she talked about was kind of similar to what you were just saying about how, like, when they're looking at something that they like, it's like, okay, but do we already have something that's super similar to this that we felt more strongly about? And just like having to decide what is a good justification, because if they could accept them all, they would, because they're about indie horror. They want to help promote and bring, you know, the films in front of viewers and stuff. So it was really, and when she said 3,000, I was like, Jesus. I was like, how long did it take you to watch?
That must have been the most daunting process.
Well, and I'm thinking like, some of the shorts ranged from literally a minute to, and then some of them weren't even shorts because it was just a horror film festival. So while a vast majority of them were shorts, they had like, I think like maybe 10 that were feature length. So it's like, how many feature length films were there? How many, like, it was wild to think about.
Yeah.
Madness. It's gotta be so daunting to see like that come in and be like, let's watch every single one of them. And then like, just to remember which ones you like by the time you get to 2,857, you're like, wait, what happened to the second one we watched?
There's no way. I remember half of most movies, especially if they don't just like really hit hard for me. Like, I forget half the plot. I don't remember the characters' names. I couldn't do that. Like,
I'll read a book and then 3 days later, I'm like, no idea what happened in that book.
No idea.
What was the character's name? I didn't make sure I looked up. I was like, okay, what was my character's name in Murder Madness Mayhem?
Yeah. Did you guys get to go to did you say you went to the one that was in Canada?
I went with Alexis and my editor to the first one that screened in Toronto at the beginning of the year. It wasn't as big of a turnout as it was when I went. When was the last one I went to? The Great Canadian Film Festival, I think was it October? No. It might have been. I think it was October. It was October, I think. That one was a big turnout. The audience was full. So that was really cool seeing it with the full audience. I went with my parents to that. But great showrunners. So if you guys are listening, check them out. But it was nice.
Cool.
Did you get to do like a Q&A or anything?
They did it for the person that that won. I think there was only one.
Oh, okay.
They did like a short block, and then they let the audience choose and pick like through an like on their phone, like people's choice, which is nice.
Yeah. Brooklyn Festival did that too, where sort of you get like a notification after the film, and you got to sort of like rank it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Riley, did you get to go to any of them or?
No, I haven't made a screening for it, unfortunately, but it's nice to see that it's been busy out there, and it's nice that Steven had a full crowd. It's cool. I did a short film last year as well for a different one, and it was the only screening I went to. I flew down to LA. We made a festival in LA, and so I watched it, and it was on the big screens, and we had like a full theater, and it's pretty cool to watch your work with like other people. But like I watched it like this the whole time. I was like, I'm so nervous.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
And I'm not a nervous guy. Like I don't mind watching my stuff, and like it's good. But that one, it's because, well, we're talking about Murder Madness Mayhem, but it's it's cool to watch your stuff and be part of it.
It was weird. I felt the same because like I felt like I was crouching down on my seat. I'm like,
right. No one look at me, but like this is what we want, right? We want our stuff to be out there. We got to go see it. So, and then it's because as soon as people are watching it, you start for some reason doubting yourself. You're like, well, is it good? Do people like? And
I can only imagine.
You made great work, and people loved it, and people are talking about it. So you got to go out there and just be proud of it and appreciate it. And obviously, there's probably going to be someone out there that goes, that I didn't like that. Oh,
Sure.
No,
Yeah.
it's always going to happen.
Right?
Movies,
Yeah.
that's the thing about art. Different pieces of art resonate differently with people. So,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
But
like,
it's cool. So good for you to go out there and have like some people in the like a lot of people in the stand
When
and
it
watch with you.
when it ended after like the 911 call at the end of the movie, and I'm like done with silence, I'm like, and everyone started clapping. I'm like, oh.
The relief.
Realized you held your breath for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So when the festival that I went to was substantial, really small. Like, and so I was telling Steven this on Instagram, like afterwards, like it was in a 7 o'clock block at 7 p.m. And so like we'd been there, we had seen two blocks prior to that, were different themes or whatever. And there weren't like a ton of people. There were, I mean, it was, you still had to kind of be careful about where you were going to sit. It was full enough. But as the day, like as the time went on and it got to that 7 o'clock, like it was full. Like the rows of seats were full. And
Nice.
even though I had nothing to do with the making of this movie, I was wearing the shirt. I like hooped when it came on. Like I was trying to be super supportive and stuff. And even I felt like, please let people be excited about this. And I didn't even have anything to do with the making of the movie, but I was like, I need people to like this.
Love the support. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's awesome.
How was it? Like, how do you think the people liked it?
So there was that whole block, which I'm sure you know this already, but for people who don't, the whole block was home invasion. It was called Unwanted Visitors, which ranged from home invasion to aliens to like other types of break-in style things. Like it was kind of all over the place. As far as like some of the things, as long as it was like that. But anyway, no, I think I watched the whole block. It was like an hour and maybe like an hour 40 total or something for all of them. And I think that there were about 3 that were super, super strong. And I could tell that the people around me agreed because those were the 3 that they were the loudest about when it was over. And one of them was yours. They were like, people seem to really like it. There was a couple I felt bad because there was this one film, and I won't say like what it was or whatever, but there was like this one film where the filmmaker was like in the audience because they did Q&As after for anybody that showed up. And people were like, laughing and like it was so, but again, I didn't think it was funny. It wasn't. I thought it was I thought it was a good movie. Or a good film. Like I wasn't, but there were some people I felt like that were just kind of like a little disrespectful considering the space, so that was kind of cringy. But otherwise, but as far as like the reaction was super positive. People were really glad. I mean,
Nice.
seemed to really like it. There was a couple of like those voices you hear like when she goes like, okay, so like when she goes to take a shower, there's people that are like, oh no, like just like if you're as a horror fan, you're like, oh god, like it's gonna go so badly. And then and there was audible responses to the throat slit and very like at the end, like when we see Riley's character without his mask on. So there was an consistent reaction to what people were saying. So I think people really liked it. They seemed
They're involved. I like it.
That's awesome. You know what's funny though? I know you're saying about the laughing. When I was at the Toronto screening, there were some parts where people were laughing. But you know what? I didn't take it personal because a lot of times when I go see scary movies, people laugh. I think it's an emotion that people do when their brain doesn't know how to process certain things that they're seeing.
That's
fair.
I'm
the kind of guy, if I go see like, for example, well, not horror, but say if I'm like, I'm a sucker for a rom-com. Sometimes if I don't want to cry, I giggle. I'm like, I remember I saw like The Fault in Our Stars when I was in California with a big group of us. And at one point, my buddy looked over, he's like, "Why are you laughing?" I was like, "Because I don't want to cry."
Because I'm fine, obviously.
I'm good. Okay, I'm okay. But it was so funny. But yeah, no, you're right. Sometimes the laugh.
Right? It's all in good fun though. Like I noticed that with a lot of movies I see in theater, like scary movies, people laugh. I don't know what it is. It's just the way that people
I would say like
the defense mechanism, rather than showing fear, we laugh it off, right?
And I would say like, when I was doing theater in school and stuff, I always said like if you want someone like in your piece, I think getting someone to just laugh at something, even if it's small or big, like as soon as someone laughs, it means they've paid attention, they're involved, they're listening. So like they kind of like buy into it. So if like, you're telling a joke and no one's laughing, it's not hitting, but you tell, you make something light and someone laughs, you're like, okay, cool. You're into it. You're enjoying what you're watching. And then, maybe laughing at horror might be a little different scenario, but that person is seeing something, they're listening, they enjoy what they're seeing. Like you said, Steve, it might be a defense mechanism or whatnot, but I always think laughter is not bad. I think it means they're involved.
Yeah.
You know, so it's good.
Yeah, I think that's a great perspective. I did not have that perspective. I was mad at them. I was like, "You shut up!" Like,
it goes to a degree. I guess if like they're laughing hysterically, then you're like, "No, guys, you're completely missing the point. This isn't great."
I think it's fine to have like conversations about things you didn't like or like whatever you want to say, like outside. But like they knew there was a chance the filmmaker was sitting next to them or something. It's like, come on, please just be fun. But no, I get what you're saying. That's a super great perspective. I want everyone should be more positive, like Riley. It's just like I was ready to fight for the indie filmmaker.
Hey, we need you. We need that backup. We love that.
Yeah.
So are there festivals kind of sort of left on the docket? I think I remember you saying that there were.
There's 3 festivals I'm waiting to hear back from that I'll know an answer by December. Now, if I hear back early, this movie is probably gonna maybe be released as an early Christmas present to the universe.
To the universe.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I'm gonna post it before the new year or I'm gonna post it in the new year because I'm waiting for 3 festivals. I'll know by December if they get in or not. So it depends by then, and then I'll post it as soon as I can and premiere it for everybody.
Yeah. You just have, you could CGI in some snow, make it a Christmas movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Put a little beard on my character. Maybe I could be a Santa Claus killer or something.
Yeah.
There you go. We need more Christmas horror. I'm always down for things that like horror related Christmas. I need.
Oh, see, that's horror I could get into. Maybe a little Christmas horror.
Yeah, because they're usually, in most cases, they're pretty light. Like they're very fun and just kind of like,
Have you ever seen Hobo with a Shotgun?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic film. Anyway, that's offside. That's sidetrack.
Good Christmas horror. Gremlins. You've never seen it.
That's Gremlins is good.
I love Gremlins.
Okay. All right. Got something.
I think It's a Wonderful Knife is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
That's going to be a Christmas slasher.
Lovely title.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really good.
I love that.
I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving too.
Oh, that's next week, right? Or this week? Next week?
Next week, I think.
Next week.
Because the only one we've had were like a Thanksgiving horror was the one.
Is that awful turkey one?
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, that's it.
From the 80s.
Isn't there more than one?
Yeah.
Is it from the 80s?
No, it's more.
No.
They mention there's this like this like running gag in the movie where they joke about John Benet Ramsey, the missing girl model.
Yes.
Okay.
From like the 90s.
It sounds like
It's
a
from
title.
the 90s, yeah.
Sounds like a title of an 80s horror B movie.
100% it does. Yeah. It's worse than it sounds though.
Oh yeah. The killer turkey goes like radioactive at some point. It's like wild. Like the opening scene is like a pilgrim getting murdered by this turkey. It's kind of
hilarious.
Steve looks so happy. He's like, it's kind of fun.
I love like hokey B movies, like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I mean, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah,
you guys are.
What's the one about the tire? What's that called?
Rubber.
Which
sounds like a movie about a condom, but
yeah.
I mean, I had some questions about sort of favorite subgenres. I mean, we know, Stephen, it's home invasion for you.
And
slashers.
And
slashers. But any other sort of favorites? I guess we could kind of turn this into a what are you watching lately kind of, what are you enjoying these days?
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, Ted Lasso's got to be one of my top favorite shows of all time. Talking about positivity, that guy.
Sure,
yeah.
Right. Love that. I go through these phases where I watch like series and then I just kind of jump through movies. But one I started watching, which is weird because I never quite finished The Boys, but I started watching Gen V, which I thought was super cool. But then I put down pause because I was like, I gotta go back and watch The Boys before finishing this series. My brothers are crazy about it. They're all.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so I'm kind of into that. But what is the last thing I watched? I just watched a movie. recently. Yeah, I'm kind of in a little bit of a movie phase, but I'm looking at a new series that I kind of want to start. My brother's telling me about the House of Usher.
Oh,
And he said that's crazy. So I might have to jump on that because, if all of Netflix likes it, why won't I?
I'm on the second episode.
I heard it's
I
great.
haven't started it yet.
Was it Mike Flanagan's great entry
He
level
is
horror?
great.
Like,
I do love him. Yeah.
it's like, yeah, because if you like Usher, then you can go watch Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor.
Midnight Mass is my favorite that he's done.
Midnight Mass is also my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he did Home Invasion. He did Hush, right?
Yes. So good. I have a poster right in front of me signed by Kate Siegel.
Kate.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
I told you he meets everybody.
No, I didn't either. I actually just bought it on eBay like a few years
I
ago.
thought you met her.
You bought it on eBay.
Back and authenticated. But yeah, I love that movie. It's awesome.
Her look in Usher is my favorite look because she has very distinct looks for a lot of her characters.
Yeah, the white hair.
The white hair is so cool.
Yeah.
But Steve, what are you watching lately?
I was just looking at my letterbox. I'm like, what did I watch recently? I watched. Actually, it's funny. Like, I try to watch some movies in October that I either hadn't seen or just stuff to get me in the Halloween spirit.
I tried to do it. I did it for like 2 weeks, and then I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I couldn't do it every day either. I watched Hocus Pocus 2 for the first time. I actually really enjoyed it.
What about Halloween Town? You ever watch?
I didn't watch Halloween Town. No, I should have watched it. I didn't.
You haven't seen Halloween Town?
No, I have when I was a kid, but I haven't.
I thought you meant like ever. I was like, oh my god.
I was like, I know I'm not watching some stuff, but come on. All right, Halloween Town High is just a classic.
I love all of those. I love
They're so good. They're so good.
Yo, when the mom transformed in the second one, that freaked me out as a kid.
Oh god.
When all of a sudden it was Darcy in the second one. Or no, was it Darcy in the first one or the second one? Like the girl from Darcy's Wildlife, when they changed the actresses.
The fourth one was when they changed Marnie.
They changed Marnie.
Yeah, they changed Marnie. I called it Darcy because it was Darcy's Wildlife.
But yeah.
Yeah,
that was Halloween Town was the first thing I watched when I got Disney Plus. Like the day that Disney Plus came on, that was the first. It was like summertime. That was the first thing that I watched. I love that movie. Huh?
Such a cozy movie.
It is. And that's one I could probably watch back to back and probably not get sick. I really love that one.
I think all horror fans would want to live in a town like that, right? I think that's why it feels so cozy.
Yeah.
Even with the bad guy, like I could handle it, I think.
Oh,
I like the skeleton taxi driver. It's my favorite.
Oh my god, Benny. Is his name Benny? Something like that.
Oh, you know what? I just watched Goosebumps. Like I think it was the second one with Jack Black. Well, both.
The
movie.
The movie. The more kids movie. Is there a horror Goosebumps?
I was gonna say the new series, rebooted series on Disney Plus is actually so good. I know the people that love the original show, they don't seem to like it. I love the original show. I know there's a lot of mixed reviews, but I think it's so cool what they're doing because like the original series was a cheesy kids show, but it was very nostalgic, and each episode was based on a book. But with the new reboot series that they're doing, it's for a more mature audience.
Oh, that excites me, though.
It's like every episode like intertwines with each other.
Love it. That sounds awesome. I want to see it. Again, shows or time sucks. I have not had any time. I haven't watched Usher. I haven't watched Goosebumps. There's a bunch of them I haven't watched.
Watch it, Riley. It's so good, the new Goosebumps. And then I've been watching Chucky. I know the Chucky show. It's fun, but it's so out there and so like outrageous. And I also watched the movie Sick for the first time that Kevin Williamson created that did Scream. Who directed it? I don't remember who directed it though. But that movie was actually really good.
I don't remember who directed Sick, but that was on Peacock here because that's like an NBC Universal.
It premiered on cable here, but I liked it. It was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. But yeah, that's all I've seen really recently.
All right, cool.
Well, we can wrap up. I was trying to. Well, I told you an hour. I don't want to
Yeah, and you guys sort of like every question that we sort of had planned. You guys are just so good at sort of
became integrated into some other
kind of go into so much without us even having.
That's a polite way of saying we ramble.
Yeah.
No, we welcome it. We welcome it. Like, please, like that's what you're here for.
Yeah. Well,
Please,
before
ma'am.
anything, I just gotta say, Steve, the back of your room you're in with the X-Men set up there and stuff, it looks like a sweet little man cave down there.
It is my man cave. Yeah, so this was like our quarantine present. My husband was like, we're getting the X-Men arcade game. So that was like, then all my horror stuff, and then I have, you can't really see, all my comic books are back there. Then I have like Power Ranger stuff over here.
Steve is all over every fandom you can even like think of.
It's like everything.
He just loves everything.
How do you feel about the Ninja Turtles?
Oh, I mean, like, so I'm new into it. Like, so I don't
Careful.
dislike them. They just didn't catch me as a kid.
Yeah.
So, but I love Mutant Mayhem.
Oh,
I loved it.
It was amazing.
I don't know if I probably put it away, but I actually went back and bought the first omnibus of the original TMNT series from like the 80s.
Nice.
So I'm gonna like dive into that.
Where'd you get that? Me and my brother fair. We were like, me and my brother started like the OG series, but it was on YouTube and we watched like 4 episodes and then it was like gone. I was like, oh, that's stupid. So then we started one of the kids ones on like Amazon or whatever. We just started some series. But see, for the Turtles, I have 3 brothers. I have a twin brother and 2 older brothers, and we love the Turtles. We all have a turtle tattoo.
Oh, I love that.
So I have a Michelangelo tattoo. My twin brother's Raphael, oldest is Leonardo, and my older is Donatello. So we're big Turtles fans.
That's
cool.
cool.
I wanted to ask you, by your last name, are you Italian?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Are you Italian?
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah. Like, you guys are Italian.
I'm Italian.
You think might not be Italian?
It's really more the way you speak sometimes, though, that gets me. Because you say things sometimes, and I'm like, yeah.
I did notice in the introductory credits, you used to have those frosted tips going.
Yeah, I saw that. I was going to say that.
Well, they weren't frosted tips. I did the whole Ken thing. And
it was all blonde. I thought
I was all blonde, and I kind of sort of let it grow out.
Oh, no, Steve. We're going to have to update our intro now that you've gone dark again.
But to be fair, I did have frosted tips when I was younger. I was very influenced by NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. All of us in the 90s were doing it. Peer pressure.
I went blonde once. I went all blonde. It turned more kind of orange. My hair, it's hard to see, but I'm kind of a redhead. But I went blonde and it turned a little bit orange, but I tried it.
Because you got to bleach it out first. Because, with any if you have like a solid color, like unless you are blonde to begin with, you have to sort of take everything out.
Right. And I wasn't quite ready to strip down my like strawberry blonde. It was for a show, but I was like, yeah, go ahead, dye it. We just like sat there like twice, just dying. And it was cool for a little bit.
That was fun. Yeah, me and my brother all sort of like our hair. My brother probably more than me because he had like the kind of the straight up mohawk.
Oh, really?
I've always wanted a mohawk, but they're so hard to pull off with. Like, how do you get it proper in position?
Oh, we did the whole like 80s rocker look. It was like shaved, and then he had it all red. It was intense. Cool. It was awesome. It was pretty cool.
Hell yeah. That is a commitment. Appreciate it. Respect that.
I was going to say a few years ago, I did go blonde. I did the blonde highlights. It turned out okay, but I only had it for 2 months.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, fair play.
I like that, though, because it sort of all blends kind of
cool.
It was like a soft serve ice cream just mixed in.
Yeah, exactly. Some chocolate and vanilla.
Yes.
Oh no! I also had a blonde stage, but I look like this year round as far as my pigmentation or lack thereof. So not a good look. Not a good look. Dark hair fits my my paleness much better.
That's funny, but you're in Georgia. It's always warm.
I'm like a vampire. I don't like being outside. I don't like daytime. I'm like, ugh. Like I feel I have to like push down the urge to hiss when I go outside and the sun is like I'm not like a sun baby like at all.
That's funny.
But you're right. It is warm here like a majority of the year, even in winter. Like, Christmas time, people are in like shorts. I don't know, so yeah. But I just always look like this. And I got like 2nd-degree sunburn one time. And when I tell you that I'm like obsessive about sunscreen now, that's probably part of it too.
Oh yeah?
Because I'm just like every 5 minutes. So scared. So. Blonde does not work with this.
That's hilarious.
Cool.
Love it.
Well, thank you guys for coming on and talking with us. We really appreciate you making time.
Yeah, thank you. I know it took a while to schedule something between everyone's schedule. I appreciate your patience.
No problem. No, thank you for yours. It's no problem. It's Steve and I, even just the two of us, sometimes it's like, well, what are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? It's like trying to figure out. It's hard with two people, let alone more than two. So yeah, no worries. I'm glad we were able to do it.
Different countries.
Yeah,
that too.
All same time zones though, which is good.
Yeah, at least we're all just straight down, right?
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a regular series with someone who lives in the UK, and every single time we record, I'm like, what time is it right now? Okay, so 2 hours. I'll see you in 2 hours. Like, I can never, like, I cannot keep up with that stuff to save my life. So good thing that it's all same time though.
No, but that was awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It was fun to chat about it. It's cool to cool chit chat. It's fun.
Yeah. Thanks for repping with the shirt and everything.
Yeah, I love that. That's so wicked.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know. You can't really see most of it, but it's just a poster. But
Yeah, still cool.
thanks for sending this to me. It got here literally like 2 days before or something. It was like perfect.
Yeah, it was good
It worked
timing.
out so well. I like what fits. It's great.
That's awesome.
But where can everyone find you guys?
You go ahead.
You can find me on Instagram. It's just my name at Riley Marinelli. I technically do have a TikTok, but I don't really post. So find me on Instagram, just at Riley Marinelli. Give me a follow. Got some stuff coming up, hopefully, and stay tuned.
Yeah. Steven, are you you're mostly on Instagram too, right? You don't really.
Instagram seems to be the main platform that I'm on. I mean, I sometimes post on YouTube. If you guys want to find me on Instagram and YouTube, it's just at Geek Out Cinema. Obviously, you don't have to put the word at, but it's just Geek Out Cinema.
Thank you so much for the clarity.
How Instagram tags work. Thanks, buddy. Everyone's like, ads? It's not working.
I think if you go on Instagram and just type in Steven DeRock, I think it will just pop up too.
Yeah,
and then I sometimes post on YouTube. I would love to start getting back into the YouTube stuff again. It's just hard to film and edit sometimes and with my regular schedule. So, but that's where I'm at. If you guys want to hit me up, Instagram's the place to be.
Yeah.
We'll have all links.
Yeah.
Angel, we're on the same wavelength.
We've done this before.
The YouTuber kicks in, like in the description below.
It'll be in the description below. Yes, for sure.
It was nice seeing you, Riley. I haven't spoken to you, Riley, in a while. It's nice seeing you again.
It's good to see you too, buddy. Thanks for reaching out, man. I'm glad.
Right.
And hey, you can see in the background we got the Leafs game on.
Yeah.
I think we're up. I hope. No, we're down, guys. It's 4-3 Ottawa. Come on. Unbelievable. It's a good thing I was doing this instead of watching that lame game.
All right, cool. Well, thank you guys again so much for joining us. Thank everybody for watching. Check out Steven and Riley's links. They're going to be in the description for this episode, as Steve and I both said. And we'll put in the cloud the other episode that I did with Steven to cover the other one, and probably at least the link maybe to find that one as well, since it is on YouTube. You'll be able to find it, right? That one's still on YouTube, right? The Rage?
Yeah, still on YouTube. I was going to say, too, depending on when this is posted, which I don't know how long it takes, but my new film might be out by then. I don't know.
I think the plan is to get it out this weekend, right?
Okay. So who's ever watching this then, the new film should be out soon. So just keep an eye on YouTube. It'll be posted on Geek Out Cinema on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll probably repost this video when it's when the movie's out. Just
cool stuff.
Extra. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Well, thank you guys, everybody, for watching and hanging out with us. Hope you have a good rest of your week or weekend, depending on the day that this comes out. And Steve and I will see you really soon.
Bye now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.